We're joined by Vince Pace live from his Los Angeles engineering studio, surrounded by a lot of his creations. Is one of those cameras behind you one of the Avatar cameras?
Yeah, some of the technology used on Avatar is sitting right behind us, Cory.
That's pretty cool. Shouldn't that be in the Smithsonian or the Baseball Hall of Fame or the Alien Hall of Fame or something?
Well, I think that what we enjoy the most is that the technology is changing all the time. It's growing, it's getting better and more exciting for the filmmakers.
What's the sort of key innovative technology breakthrough that led you to think that this was possible to do these kinds of things? Because this obviously takes a lot of money, obviously takes a lot of buy-in, but was there an aha moment with this 3D stuff?
I think that when we first started developing some of the techniques for doing 3D that kind of mimic the human vision, if you will, when we started to see some of those results, I think that reached that moment that we said, man, this is different from what your grandfather told you about 3D or the theme park ride. It really broke that barrier that said, man, this could be very viable in the entertainment industry.
Let's say I'm an idiot, because a lot of people say that. How does a 3D camera work?
Well, the 3D camera is trying to mimic what your own eyesight is doing. It's trying to converge on a subject matter and track it. And in a way, with the separation of your eyes causing two different views, when they combine themselves in your brain, and it's called accommodation, when what you see is what feels to be right to you, the camera systems are physically trying to do the same thing. They're trying to capture those images. They're trying to angle the view to that image, much like you do when you see something with your own eyes.
I've read some cinematographers in Hollywood who say that it doesn't quite do that, that there's a certain kind of limit to the way your eyes interpret that data, and that 3D does something different. I'm a little on my depth here, but I know that there's a different feeling you get when you watch these things. It's not just like seeing something live.
Well, I think they're right. When we first started out, we said, oh, if we just take two cameras, separate them the same distance apart as the human eyes, I'll make 1,000 cameras and be rich. It didn't work out that way. It really meant that the tools had to match that accommodation factor. So you had to make the tools in such a way that they felt right to the viewer. So that has developed over time.
Talk to me about the use of semiconductors and use of computer programming in making this work.
Well, definitely it's a combination of electromechanics. It's definitely the motion control that brings it all together, software driven. So there's a multi-layer approach. You're really treating it as innovation on all different levels.
So why do you have to keep redoing the equipment for every film that you work on? Because there are so many, and certainly there are a lot more movies being made in this way.
Well, some of the challenges is the digital cinematography equipment is also changing on a very rapid scale. There's cameras out there that are being accepted as a comparative to film, and so we're always finding ourselves adapting to that type of technology. But Jim and I are both excited about the future in broadcast, because now here's an opportunity to take that volume up, to apply some of the techniques we used into that market, and turn out quality 3D in the broadcast market.
Now, I understand you have a couple of patents in this field as well?
Absolutely. Some of the foundation for us has been, over this period of time to develop IP that really approaches the methodology that was used on Avatar for the control of good stereo, the platform of how it works and goes about acquiring those images has been a protected IP. And some of the stuff that we just did on Masters, which we piggybacked onto the 2D resources, is also one of our IPs that have come together recently.
Now, for all that and for all this innovation, the rollout, the pace, if you will, of the televisions has been very disappointing. The television manufacturers have not sold them like they thought to. Best Buy has reported disappointing results. H.H. Gregg, another big retailer in the U.S., reporting disappointing results because of the sales of 3D TVs, just not what people thought they were going to be. There's clearly some resistance to this.
Oh, absolutely, and I'm on the side of the public in this. The knee-jerk reaction was to come out with electronic glasses, $100 a piece. It's not the community environment for TVs. It's not where typical people buy a TV, they want to show it to their friends. Here, that entry fee would be, you know, $100, $120 per piece. You know, TVs really need to come to the same world that the theater is, where they're using passive glasses, they're cost effective, you know, some of them in the dollars, not the hundreds of dollars and stuff. And I think once you start to see that happen, they're getting it, Cory, and once you start to see that happen, you're going to see a you know, kind of a sea change in the acceptance of viewing 3D at home.
But surely there are some kinds of movies that aren't better in 3D.
Well, I'd challenge that statement, Cory, because you know, many times I work with product that goes outside the norm of what we understand to be 3D product, and it's just amazing to me. 3D has the potential for conveying athleticism, emotion, character, you know, talent. It's really an incredible medium. It's like you're walking in the room with a star and you feel the sense of who they are and what they can do. 3D has an incredible opportunity to bring that home.
But I mean, really, like Up in the Air or The King's Speech, those aren't movies that where you want to be where the character's spitting. Or do you? Tell me.
Again, Cory, yeah, from my perspective, you know, we used to all say 12 Angry Men. You'd never do a film like that. Man, to be on that emotional roller coaster ride in that room, feeling like you're there, you got to be kidding me. You'd walk away impacted by that film, unlike anything that 2D could ever accomplish.
So how should that equipment, or how would you imagine that equipment being different for a movie like that, for a set piece in a room, almost a theater piece? Is it a different kind of equipment to tell a story in 3D?
Well, I think there's levels of the power of 3D, and you know, certainly if you're going after a kid's film or a dramatic film, you know, that the approach to it, the depth and volume to it is going to change. It's going to respect the product, and that's the exciting part of the medium, the creative side of, you know, trying to pay tribute to what you're trying to accomplish in storytelling. Sometimes it could be fun and crazy, and sometimes it could be very emotionally impactful, and you do approach the technology in a different way. However, the technology is the same.
So in terms of cost, what does it cost from a production standpoint to add 3D to a movie that may be already planned out and imagined?
Well, the important thing is that we come and follow the 2D model as much as possible, Cory. You know, the problem has been, you know, this separate entity, if you will, especially in the broadcast world. You know, the key for us is to take as many 2D resources as we can and use those as the backbone for the 3D. Like in the case of Avatar, Jim was shooting a film, not a 2D or a 3D film. He was shooting just a film, and we supply technology. Now, are we doubling the cameras? Are we doubling the recorders? Of course we are. But that's an incremental, you know, offset that might be in the 20–30% compared to doubling up on the crew or having someone else shoot Avatar 3 while we're shooting Avatar, you know, 2D.
All right, Vince, well, I guess I'm going to have to get used to wearing these 3D glasses from now on. And I don't know if anyone's going to mistake me for Ray Charles or just a guy that really likes the movies.
Yeah, well, I like calling them entertainment glasses, to be honest with you, Cory. You know, we're trying to elevate entertainment, and we need to get off the 3D kick, the dimensional part, or the Buddy Holly part. I think we really, you know, there's some, you know, sunglasses that we enjoy wearing out there, and that should be entertainment glasses as well.
All right, there we go. No more of the glasses. All right, Vince Pace, really glad you could join us from L.A.